Gardner and Hometown Restoration.
Yeah, man.
How you doing, my brother?
Well, I guess one of the few people that you can call a big man.
It's very few. You're right.
Living a dream out here, dude. Having a great time, man. What about y'all?
Oh, man, we're blessed, man. We're, a lot of traffic through the booth. We're having a great time. We're throwing a good party over here and just enjoying the vibe.
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean? We kind of changed up the rhythm. I know everybody else has their thing, but last year we came in and we didn't do something as crazy as this.
Yeah.
But man, I'm glad we're having the fun we're having.
No, you did crazier last year. You came out with like chainsaws.
Well, the girls are a lot prettier than the chainsaws.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. Maybe not as loud, but maybe not.
Well, loud in presentation. There you go.
There you go.
But no, man, what's up? What's new? How's Florida treating you?
Yeah, man. Florida has been a wild event. We've been all over the country at hurricanes together, and every one of them's different.
Oh,
everything is you think you know what you're doing each time, and each time it's a different animal, and this one was no exception. We are just now coming to the point to where we're figuring it out a little bit and getting the numbers to work and getting things happening. It's been a lot slower moving storm. The demographics a lot older with a lot of people that are a lot more gun shy. Everything from this isn't their first rodeo, and then you got a lot of the people here are where Bernie Madoff did his pyramid scheme from. Just like people here have just been scammed.
They're so
for a long
jaded,
time.
right?
Yeah,
they're so jaded.
So we've had to switch tactics and be adaptable, but we're one of the ones still left. A lot of people have packed up and gone home.
A lot of people have packed up and gone home. A lot of people have gone bankrupt trying to keep up with this. The money is moving incredibly slow. Incredibly slow.
Fortunately, my company's big enough to where the other markets we're in continue. We're profitable regardless, and knock on wood, obviously. But, that being said, we've been able to sustain it and kind of weather the storm, so to say. But it's turning around, and that's good because it wasn't 2 months ago, and I don't know if we're staying. This might be the first storm I leave.
Yeah.
And we made a couple key changes, and all of a sudden the floodgates got to open.
Yeah.
And with our marketing and how we were approaching deals, and that kind of what worked. Yeah, but that's working. I've always for the last 3 years or so, I've done the consulting thing, and people call me and bring me in, and I've always kind of kept it under the radar because I don't really want to be the guru. I'm a contractor first, and this is what I do.
Yeah.
And but I fell into a little bit of roofing fame, and a lot of people wanting to learn from me. There's Jonathan again. And so I fell into a little bit of roofing fame and kind of built on people wanting me to come out. We got a big following online. And so we said, what if we actually organize that a little bit? And, so I did. And one of the main things that we have, one of my grievances, I guess you'd say, is there's a lot of people that do training and teaching in this industry that aren't contractors.
Yeah.
And they don't have the first clue from a contractor's perspective. So you have, and God bless them, I know and love a lot of them, but you have a lot of attorneys and a lot of PAs that teach contractors from their perspective, but don't really understand, one example I was talking about yesterday was, use of contingency contracts. And you got an attorney standing there saying, well, they won't ever hold up in court. Well, it's not really important on the front end of a deal. What we care about is getting some sort of commitment in a sales process, right? So it's not that contingencies don't have a use. It's they don't have a use for an attorney.
Yeah.
So whenever we're training and learning from folks, there's not a lot of people that are actually out here living this life, and that's their main line. So
people think, and I'll use another tree service as an example. I have a buddy of mine that has a tree service. He's not a storm chaser, right? Not anywhere close.
Sure.
But he thought coming to Ian, oh man, I'm gonna come down here and kill it. It's a big storm. Never coming to the storm, not knowing what to bring, not knowing the financial burden that it is, right? And not, oh my God, not being prepared. And he has a very successful business back home.
For sure.
He came down here and turned around in 4 days.
Yeah.
Because he couldn't get work. He couldn't float it the way he wanted it to. And he never knew. But he had another guy who was not a storm chaser as well. It was like, oh, you need to do this, 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 and this. A guy that's never been here before.
Yeah. Has
right. Where I've done 20 storms now.
Yeah.
You know, we know what to expect for the most part. But you're right about it. You said it earlier. It's like they keep moving the goalposts in the middle of the game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, and a lot goes into that. I mean, the laws are completely different from place to place. The people are completely different. The money is completely different. The costs are just different. Everything ends up being different. And when you're a local market, your blinders on to your market, right? Yeah. And you can become an expert in your market that may or may not and likely won't be something that works in a storm environment, right? And let's not forget, the people are traumatized. I mean, they've been through maybe one of the worst things that's ever happened. They lost their home.
That's right.
I'll give you a story about a tree. I was in Lake Charles, Louisiana, and we're blowing and going with tarping, right? And I get a call to my office, and it's a woman. She's crying over the phone. They call me. They say, "Hey, go see this woman." I get over there, and nobody was available, so I took it. Yeah. I went to go work it, and I pull up. I get out, and she doesn't know me from Adam. And she's standing there, but she got an oak tree the size of your truck. I mean, I'm telling you, this thing was gigantic.
Yeah.
Laying across the center of her house. House is total. House, I mean, it's just broken in half.
Yeah.
And I'm telling her, I said, we're going to have to get this thing removed before we do any tarping. I mean, it's kind of one of those things where it's pointless for me to tarp this thing. There's no way I'd be able to dry it in.
Yeah.
And I'm talking to her about how the whole process works. She says, "Can you come tell my husband that?" I said, "Absolutely." We go around back. And the husband's in the back, got the generator wired into the pool pump, and he's vacuuming the pool, bro. Just trying to find something to make his life normal.
Yeah.
Right?
It's a shell shock.
What can I do?
Yeah.
And the man, the only thing he could do was vacuum his pool, right? So he's got the generator that we got to drive an hour to get gas, and he's running the vacuum on the pool. House gone, right? And they just don't know. No. And they're shell shocked, like you said.
Yeah.
And you deal with that. You're not ever dealing with that as a local company, right? Your local company, a little storm came through, blew a tree over, whatever. That's fine.
Yeah, there's a lot of resources there for people to pull from. Storms, a tornado, very localized, right? Yeah. Ice storm, maybe a little bit broader. Hurricane is complete disaster. So a nuclear bomb went off, right? More energy in a hurricane, and I think it said it's 1,000 nuclear bombs, right? So that's how much energy comes ashore, but the shell shock portion of it is a real thing.
Yeah.
So I just talked on a panel the other day or yesterday, and we found something out. I'm kind of a statistics nerd, but we figured something out. There's a 2, 4, 6, 12 market. The first 2 days, people are in utter shock.
Yeah.
Right. The next 4 days, they're in disbelief and they're in denial. Oh no, the insurance is going to take care of me. I don't need you.
Yeah.
And then the next 6 days after that, then they start getting angry at everyone. Everyone. It doesn't matter if you're trying to help them or not. They don't believe you if you are. And then the 12 days following those 6 days are the acceptance period, right? Where that's when we start getting all our callbacks. Like, hey, I'm sorry for cussing you out. Like, we realize now that we really do need the $1 million crane on our property, because Jim Bob across the street broke our roof or broke our this, whatever. Same thing I'm seeing with the roofers, man. Y'all have got to go through a gauntlet.
Well, then it doesn't help that, you get a bunch of hungry people that show up and just start banging doors and annoying them. And, it's tough. It's tough to make yourself stand out in a world where any 12-year-old kid can create a Facebook and make you look like you're legitimate. It's tough to do that, right? So, one thing I noticed about this storm that was different probably for you guys is, like in Louisiana, the daggum pine trees got picked up and thrown through everything. They're everywhere.
Yep.
Out here, it's palm trees, and they're kind of set up for living through hurricanes, right? And I watched what you guys did. You guys made a pivot and started taking down structures that were...
Structures. We started loading TPO on top of roofs for roofing companies. We actually pulled cars out of buildings and anything that I can put my cranes to use, because I looked at we only did 10 tree jobs. That's it.
There wasn't any.
There was no trees.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I got buddies of mine came down here and they tried, man.
Yeah.
Listen, they were doing jobs for $1,000, $1,500, and I mean making 10, 12 grand a day. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But the expense of being here for me, like if I'm not making 50 grand a day or more, there's no point in me being here.
Sure.
You know, so we pivoted real hard, and that's part of, you know, TW Mock is one of my buddies that told me, hey, look, if it's not working this way, be in the solutions business.
Yeah.
Right? Get this shit and figure it out how to make money in a different way. Lifting boats is another thing we did. Lifted a bunch of boats.
Yeah.
You know, but no, man, it's one of those things where this storm was an anomaly. Whereas you go 100 miles north and it hits Tampa,
It would have been a tree.
it would have been a tree storm.
Yep.
Yeah. We'd have done 10,000 damn jobs with trees on it. You know?
That's the thing about being a stormer that a lot of people don't get is the skill is not in running necessarily a niche business. The skill is being able to be adaptable.
That's it. Learning how to pivot.
And that's the game, right?
And even for roofers, I watched a couple of the roofing companies come down, smaller guys. Again, guys I know from Louisiana, they came down and they couldn't sell a job.
Yeah.
Right. And one of the guys, one of my buddies, brought a little bitty mini excavator with him. He's like, well, I can't do roofs, I can do demo.
Yeah.
So he got his demo license from a guy, and he just started demoing little double wides.
Yeah.
And he made $250,000 in 2 months.
Yeah.
Demoing double wides.
That's if you can't pivot, you can't make a storm.
No.
And that's the game. That's the game.
And I had a guy ask me today, he said, no, Jake, I want to get into the storm industry. I said, well, what's your normal business? Like, you backed up 2 months or whatever. He said, we have 6 months of backlog as a tree service.
Stay there.
I said, you might want to stay home because you're going to lose all that if you come to a storm.
And then in 6 months, you'll be sitting here hopefully holding something, maybe not.
Exactly, man. Sometimes it's the gamble. Sometimes the risk is worth it.
Yeah.
Right? But, man, you got 6 months sitting at home. So you might want to stay there.
You know, I got into storming. I came into this industry as an insurance agent before. And so my insurance background was pretty solid. And then I had a pretty solid sales background. So, roofing is not exactly rocket surgery. So that was kind of something easy to figure out. But my whole model from day one was developed around going to storms.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know how to start off as a residential. Well, as a local. Now we have retail. We have a solid local.
Damn it, Jonathan. Oh, Carlos.
We have a pretty solid local presence back home, right? And but I'll tell you, back home, I'm like the largest volume roofing contractor in the area, and I don't have the branding of half the guys there.
Yeah.
Like, because it's just not my thing. We leave every year. I think today there's a hailstorm that's supposed to be coming through.
Yeah.
I'm on
the
way
just
home.
Passed through Dallas, man.
Yeah.
It's bad.
On the way. I don't sit at my house. That's not what I do,
Yep.
right? And I had to learn that along the way is that, just as it's not probably best for a lot of local guys to get into chasing storms, it's not really feasible for my company that's set up for mass production, mass sales,
to sit at home
and feed everybody in the local market.
See,
right?
we have to be the opposite. And with the tree service, like for roofing, and I know there's a lot of specialized roofers, so y'all don't take any offense to this, guys. But I believe that you could take anybody in here and show them how to nail a freaking 3-tab down in about 10 minutes.
Sure.
I've got to train my guys with chainsaws and cranes for months.
Yeah.
So we have to have a stable, reliable tree service, residential tree service throughout the whole year.
Yeah.
And I don't rely on storms. Right. We do our work during the year. A storm comes up, great, man. We pack up, we roll in. We have residential guys back home that pick up our slack.
Yeah.
And then we go bang out the storm, we come home. Now, Ian, we stayed for 5 months.
Yeah.
But we're not, there's no way we can be set up to just do storms.
See, the difference with us is we were there the day of the storm for Ian. I rode it out in my truck, water up to my doors. I got a big truck, right? And we're there for 5 months, and we're just now starting to do our job. Yeah. I'm $500,000 deep in being in Florida before we're ever even receiving checks, right? So it's completely different.
Yeah. See,
business to business
for the tree service world, and so my dad had a tree service all throughout the 90s and the 2000s. It used to be a 30-day push. You had 30 days to make as much as you could.
Yeah.
And then after that, it tapered off real hard. You had about a 7-day window after that to make a little bit more. Than after that was done, the local guys would take over. Now we have about a 14-day push, maybe. And then that 14 days goes into another 7 behind that. And then normally everybody leaves, and it's just me and maybe a couple of companies that can handle the weight load of the payments you got to make to your guys and everything else, because the money's not rolling in like it's supposed to be. But it's different for y'all.
Well, we experienced that in hail.
Yeah,
I'll tell you what happened in hail. It's different from hurricanes. It used to be you'd go to a hailstorm and you'd be there for a year.
Jesus.
With the technology that's out there now, to be able to pinpoint where the hail's at, know who's happening, the social media lets everybody know where it's at. Roofers converge on a hailstorm, and the market's sucked up in 30 days.
Yeah,
so it's playing Hungry Hippo on a hailstorm.
That's a good analogy.
Yeah, man, it's playing Hungry Hippo on a hailstorm. Well, if you're not set up for mass Hungry Hippoing, right? And accumulating jobs, and then being able to hold on and build those jobs 6 months down the road, you flop. And a lot of guys go to these hailstorms and they set up for these long-term stays, and it's not that anymore. Right? They don't have a clue that it's not that anymore. So it's and that's just completely different from working like a hurricane, which ends up being for us 6 months of sitting out there fighting the public, and then finally it comes around to where payouts start coming, and then we'll build, and then all of a sudden there's this rush of building, and then it falls off. Every hurricane, it's like we get through it and it's like, man, there's enough work out here, we're going to be here for 3 years, and then there's the dam breaks, the floodgates open, we end up doing a bunch of business, and then it stops. So we experienced the same thing along those lines, man. It's not the way it was 6, 7, 10 years ago.
No, no, it's not.
Well, and that's kind of, it's kind of something that, goes back to the conversation of being able to be adaptable, right? And being able to kind of absorb those changes.
Yeah, man.
If you're not, man, you fall off.
No, man. And as a CEO or an owner, right? I told the guy the other day, he said, man, you enjoying your break? I said, what's that? I might take a vacation, but I'm still working. I'm still thinking damn it, I need to make some money today somehow. My guys are in Dallas right now doing a huge project, and we have some other projects we're lining up with our residential back home and in other states. So as storm season approaches in 2-3 months, 2.5 months, hurricane season, here we are again. It feels like I just finished with Ian.
So my wife was invited to speak at a women's conference, and for roofers, and so I'm doing the women's conference, and we were invited to speak on a marriage panel. So we're sitting there because we're one of the couples that hasn't, that we have a strong relationship. Mm-hmm. And my wife and I, just like your wife and I, are very, very close. Your wife and you are very, very close and run the business together, right? And I'll tell everybody, the one who really, if my wife had a roofing company and I had a roofing company side by side, hers would outperform the shit out of mine. Okay.
So if she did a tree service, man, she would kick my ass.
So we have that relationship. And so we got invited to speak at this thing. And on the way over there, I said, I wonder how long it's going to be before someone asks about work-life balance.
Oh,
right?
God, yeah.
So I get hit up about it. And the answer is, in our world, I don't know about the rest of the world, but when you're the CEO of a storming company, there is no such thing as work-life balance.
No,
either your life is working storms and your life is running your business, or you don't have a family or you don't have a business. One of the two, right? And so I'm so fortunate that I found my wife. That my life would be completely different.
Oh, I'm with you, man. Look, the only reason I'm alive is because of my woman. You know what I'm saying? And literally and figuratively. But I mean, I keep telling people I'm in the get work category. I'll go out and I'll do work with the guys still. She's in the finish it. She makes sure we get collections. She manages all the money. She manages all the back office, which I could not. Right. And the only reason that our company has really exponentially grown over the last couple of years is because she's grabbed a hold of it. She's a registered nurse. She can go do a nursing job anywhere she wants. But she's grabbed a hold of it and said, look, I'm going to make sure this is run right, because I like to buy shiny shit. Okay. Case in point. Right. And I like to push the envelope. I do. You know what I mean? I'll bet everything if I think it's going to pay off. We're going to go into a storm, Hurricane Ian, for example. I brought down every stick of iron, every chainsaw, and we didn't have a job coming in. We just went down and we started knocking.
So we have a good balance like that, because I'll tell you, I do that too.
Yeah.
I'll dive into some off the wall. Here's what we're going to do. Throw $1 million at it. And I always know, I'm so grateful for having this balance in my life, because I know that I'm being too much of me whenever I start moving her.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whenever she starts getting upset, whenever she's not in line with what I'm doing, it's when I know that it's time for me to step back and take a look at it.
She's literally grabbed me and says, "Hey, you need to just slow down just a little bit. Let's think about this." Because I'll grab onto something and be like, "Man, this is gonna."
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and she has to do that shit for me on social media too. I'll get in there and to cussing somebody out online, and she's like,
we hired a company that now runs my social media so that I don't. Because I will call a motherfucker out quick.
Right. Well, I mean, so I don't know if you know this, but I'm originally from Mississippi, but I graduated high school in Bunkie, Louisiana.
Yeah, I remember we had all that.
That's the culture down there.
It is.
Bro, if you see some bullshit, you call it.
That's
it. And where I'm from, it's a catch-22. You don't go off and do things out of line, because where I'm from, you get punched in the mouth.
That's right.
Right? You don't steal from someone because you get punched in the mouth. So, but with that, when someone steals from you, you usually have the backing of the people around you to say, "Hey, that's a wrong," and that's
right.
That's
not in this industry. Oh no.
And it comes off as high school drama and everything, but it's really just a cultural thing, man. If you're wrong, look, man, I don't mind getting into a knockdown, drag out, and a whole motherfucking over a conversation, because Jordan Peterson said, "In order to think, you must risk being offensive."
That's right.
In order to get to the bottom of an issue, sometimes we got to motherfuck each other.
That's right.
And I have no problem with that. Me being a big dude, confrontation has never bothered me.
Nah.
The problem that we run into is out here in the real world, that's not the way it works.
No.
And we got.
That's why we got to have these guys across from us. You got to throw a lawyer out. That's the punch. You know what I mean? That's the right hook.
I've got 6 of them working on 6 different things right now.
Yep.
And that's just part of it. And that's not. Look, I'd rather just over a $50,000 thing. I'd rather get in the parking lot with you.
Right. Let's just go at it.
That's not the way it works when you start elevating as a business.
I wish, because now we have more to lose, right?
Yeah.
Because some motherfucker will go in. We just have to walk in the room. Oh, I feel threatened.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's such bullshit, because there's a book called The Pussification of America.
Yeah. Seriously, read that one.
Oh man, look. But it talks about how men are being pussified. We're being feminized.
Yeah.
Right? There's no more guys that are saying, "Hey, we got a problem. There's a parking lot. Let's go handle the problem."
Let's solve the problem.
Exactly.
And
I remember being in fights, getting done with the fight, and then saying, "Hey man, let's get a beer."
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So look, man, when I was younger, you was fighting one weekend, best friends the next.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just part of it.
Yeah.
But it's not the way it works. And the truth of the matter is, a lot of people see that image of us. But the truth is that usually it's your bigger guys that have the biggest hearts.
That's the truth.
That I'm the one that'll run into a burning building for you too.
That's the truth. Or do the free job.
Yeah.
Or favor.
So, that's another thing. Not to turn this into a Jordan Peterson conversation, but another thing he talks about is like, he says, it's an old Chinese quote that says, "It's better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war."
Truth.
Right. So, with that being said, it's the warriors in the garden that keep the bullies at bay.
Truth.
It's the ones like us that stand up to bullies. It's the ones like us that will confront people and get into confrontation that are out of line, right? Yep. And that's not appreciated today.
No, it's not.
And unfortunately, it's not, because I think that leads a lot of vulnerable people open. I watch some of these people that I've called out continue doing business, and then the next thing you see is other people that, this person take advantage of me, right? There's this guy, Joshua Waxman. Joshua Waxman was servicing contractors, doing recruiting, doing anything he can do. And he was doing nothing but taking money and running with it.
Yeah.
And I put him on blast online. A lot of people, didn't like that I was calling him out. A year later, the entire industry is shunning him because he screwed over another 50 people.
Shocker.
Well, I mean, my man, had you listened a year ago, we could have saved 50 people thousands of dollars each.
You've seen everything that I've been going through with with all that, right?
And the fact of the matter is, before that happened, there were people that have been coming and saying, "Hey, this guy's not doing right. This guy's treating people wrong." I think I even told you that
you did.
When you told me it was kind of coming up. I said, "Hey, man, look, the rumblings are it's not really solid."
Oh, you did, and that's when I started pulling back, but it was already a quarter in, you know. Yeah. But now since I've came out and I put him on blast, there's 20, 30, 50 people messaging me, "Hey, Jake owes me this. They owe me this. They owe me this." And you can call bullshit. People can call bullshit all they want, but a pig is still a pig, no matter which way you cut it.
It's frustrating those 50 fucking people aren't out there saying it.
Exactly. Well, they want to now they're saying, "Well, Jake, because you did this, let's get a lawyer and go do it."
Sure.
Cool. Yeah. Y'all want to chip in? Well, no. Well, I'm still going to do it.
Yeah.
But
I'm not going to help you get yours.
No, I'm not helping you get yours.
But don't worry, I'll squash the bug.
Yeah. But I mean,
that's it.
Not even in this industry, in the world in general. You're right. People look at us like we're the bad guys just because we're big.
Yeah.
But I think the bigger guys in the room would normally be the guy that says, "Hey, man, I'll help you out. Y'all don't need nothing."
I'm the first one.
And
the people that know me know that.
Yeah.
It's the biggest pushback I get. I was talking to a guy, came to a breakout session I did yesterday. He said, "Man, I came to come and see how much bullshit you were talking about. And I want you to know, man to man, I really appreciate everything you said, and I learned a lot."
Yeah.
And the thing of the matter is your perception gets developed, and people form that opinion. This is something Doug Quinn with the APA's tried to preach into me. It's not that we're wrong.
Yeah.
What it is we turn off people who should listen to us and we should be able to reach, but there's no reaching them anymore once they've decided that we're wrong.
That's true.
Right? So when we put ourselves in that position, when we go out and make ourselves the call out guy, we turn off people that need to hear our message. Right. So that's something that we gotta be conscious of as you start growing in notoriety and growing in roofer fame or tree fame or whatever it is. You got to kind of be conscious to that. Some people are going to form an opinion, and they would otherwise learn from you, but if they form the wrong opinion on the front end, that you're turned off forever.
And that's why we have somebody running my social media.
There you go, man. There you go. Well, man, I do appreciate you having me.
Man, I appreciate you coming on, guys. Look, if y'all don't know about Bradley and about Hometown Restoration, do your research. You're in Florida. This is one of the best companies out there. Make sure you go check them out and give them some work, because let me tell you guys, you can't be talking to a better person than this man right here. See y'all later.